Beef jerky has fueled people for centuries, dating back to ancient times when preserving meat without refrigeration was a necessity. What started as a practical way to keep food safe has evolved into a modern, global snack, with flavors that range from classic to spicy, smoked, and sweet. But how exactly does this favorite snack come to life in a factory? Let's find out. Beef jerky's story goes way back. Think ancient times, when people had to figure out how to keep meat from spoiling without the luxury of a fridge. Indigenous peoples of the Americas were the true pioneers of jerky making, using the sun or fire to dry and preserve strips of meat. They even had a word for it, charky, which translates to burn meat. Sure, it sounds like they were torching steaks, but really, it was all about drying the meat just enough so it could last for months. A survival snack long before Ziploc bags were a thing. Some accounts suggest the Quechua people of South America were crafting charqui as early as the 1500s, but jerky's origins are probably even older, passed down over countless generations by indigenous communities who needed reliable, long-lasting food on the go. When European settlers arrived in the Americas, they caught on fast. Jerky's durability made it perfect for the tough, cross-country journeys that would have ruined regular cuts of meat in days. Pioneers packed pounds of the stuff for their treks westward, while frontiersmen and cowboys used jerky as a staple to keep themselves fueled during long, grueling days on the trail. Today, beef jerky's status as a go-to snack is alive and well, but it's evolved into something far beyond a survival necessity. It's a high-protein powerhouse, making it popular among fitness folks and anyone who needs an energy boost without the carbs. And talk about convenient. It's compact, fits perfectly in your glove compartment or backpack, and doesn't need refrigeration. Modern jerky also comes in a rainbow of flavors. Think teriyaki, honey barbecue, and even jalapeno, making the old-school salted version seem, well, ancient. Plus, jerky has a bit of rugged nostalgia tied up in every bite. It's a taste of the past, conjuring images of campfires, cowboy trails, and long road trips. NASA even packs jerky for space missions, proving that this snack is so timeless, it's literally out of this world. The journey starts with sourcing the beef, and not just any beef will do. Jerky manufacturers prioritize lean cuts, because fat doesn't dry well and has a higher tendency to spoil, which would shorten the shelf life of the jerky. Cuts like top round, bottom round, and sirloin are preferred for their tenderness and low-fat content. Beef suppliers are selected carefully, often using cattle raised under strict guidelines that focus on quality and consistency. Some premium brands even source grass-fed or organic beef, which adds a distinct flavor and appeals to health-conscious consumers. When the beef arrives at the factory, each batch undergoes an initial inspection by quality control teams, checking for any abnormalities or inconsistencies in the meat's appearance, texture, and even smell. Once the beef passes inspection, it heads to the trimming area. Workers, equipped with sharp knives and practiced precision, trim off any remaining fat, cartilage, or connective tissue from the meat. Even a tiny bit of fat can turn rancid in the drying process, so every detail is scrutinized. Some factories use automated trimmers, which use laser-guided tools to scan and cut off fat, ensuring consistent results. After trimming, the meat is sliced into uniform strips, usually between 1/8 to 1/4 inch thick. The slicing is a key factor for even drying. If a piece is too thick, it may not dry all the way through, leading to uneven textures and potentially spoiling. On the other hand, if it's too thin, the jerky could end up dry and brittle. Precision slicers are calibrated to achieve this perfect thickness consistently, while human inspectors verify that each slice meets the standard. Marinating is where the jerky's distinct flavors are infused. The beef strips are transferred to large vats or tumblers, where they're submerged in a marinade made from a mix of salt, sugar, vinegar, soy sauce, and spices. Each brand has its own blend, with recipes often kept as closely guarded secrets. Salt plays a dual role here. It enhances flavor while also acting as a preservative. drawing out moisture from the meat to make it less hospitable to bacteria. Some factories use a vacuum tumbler to expedite the marination process. This machine pulls air out of the tumbler, creating a vacuum that forces the marinade deep into the meat fibers, which speeds up the marination and ensures the flavors are evenly distributed. Marinating can last anywhere from a few hours to an overnight soak, depending on the flavor intensity desired. The longer it marinates, the deeper the flavors penetrate.
What did he say?
Which is why some artisanal brands opt for longer marination periods to produce richer tasting jerky. In many commercial jerky operations, curing agents like sodium nitrite are added at this stage. Curing helps with preservation and is especially useful for jerky that needs an extended shelf life. The curing process also gives the jerky that slightly tangy taste and deep reddish color we associate with traditional jerky. Curing does more than just preserve. It prevents harmful bacteria, like Clostridium botulinum, from growing in the low-oxygen environment inside the packaging. Some brands, especially those producing natural or uncured jerky, skip this step and rely solely on salt and vinegar for preservation, which can add a more rustic, meat-forward flavor, but limits shelf life and requires careful storage. After marinating and curing, the beef strips move to the drying stage. Traditional jerky was smoked over a wood fire, but in commercial production, industrial dehydrators or smokehouses are used to achieve consistent results. The meat strips are spread out on racks, ensuring enough space for airflow around each piece. They're loaded into dehydrators where temperatures are gradually increased to about 160 degrees Fahrenheit. This initial heating stage kills any bacteria and sets the structure of the jerky. Once bacteria are neutralized, the temperature is lowered to around 130 degrees Fahrenheit, allowing the meat to dry slowly, which prevents overcooking and retains chewiness. The drying time varies, but it generally takes between 6 and 12 hours, depending on the thickness and desired texture of the jerky. If a smoky flavor is desired, some producers add wood chips, often hickory, mesquite, or applewood, to the drying chambers. The smoke infuses the meat with rich, earthy undertones. Others use liquid smoke, which is added to the marinade for a more controlled smoky flavor without an actual smoking step. Once drying is complete, it's time for moisture control, a crucial step to ensure quality and longevity. Too much moisture, and the jerky can spoil. Too little, and it becomes tough. Samples from each batch go through a moisture analyzer, a machine that uses heat and a precise weighing scale to determine moisture content. Jerky manufacturers aim for a moisture level between 20% and 30%. Achieving this balance ensures the jerky stays chewy without being too brittle or wet. Moisture-controlled rooms are sometimes used to store the jerky temporarily, allowing any excess moisture to stabilize before packaging. With moisture levels in check, it's time to package the jerky. This isn't your average bagging process. Each piece of jerky is inspected for appearance, ensuring that no oddly shaped or discolored pieces make it into the final packaging. Jerky is then placed into bags that are vacuum sealed or nitrogen flushed to prevent oxidation and spoilage. The vacuum process pulls air out of the bag, creating a tight seal that keeps moisture and oxygen at bay. For added freshness, an oxygen absorber packet is included in each bag, further preventing any residual oxygen from degrading the product. This packaging is crucial in extending the shelf life of jerky, as it protects the product from moisture, air, and light, all of which can lead to spoilage or loss of flavor. Quality control teams conduct rigorous checks throughout the production line. In addition to the earlier moisture testing, samples from each batch go through taste tests, texture analysis, and microbial testing. Any jerky that doesn't meet these standards is pulled from the batch. Regular microbial testing ensures that each package is safe and free from any harmful bacteria, and every batch is tested to meet food safety standards. This step is essential because jerky is a high-protein, low-moisture product. making it a prime candidate for bacterial growth if not handled properly. Quality control teams use sophisticated equipment to detect even the slightest irregularities, ensuring that only the best jerky reaches customers. Finally, the jerky is packaged into bulk boxes and loaded onto refrigerated trucks for distribution to retail stores, convenience shops, and online warehouses. Even though jerky doesn't need to be kept cold, controlled shipping conditions prevent any quality degradation from exposure to extreme temperatures. This final journey ensures that when you open a bag of jerky, it's as fresh as it was the day it left the factory. Beef jerky has become a global snack phenomenon, beloved in countries from the US and Canada to South Africa, Australia, and beyond. It's especially popular in North America, where road trips, camping, and convenience stores have cemented it as the ultimate grab-and-go snack. But why is jerky so universally loved? Its popularity boils down to three key factors: portability, nutrition, and nostalgia. Packed with protein, low in carbs, and shelf-stable without refrigeration, jerky is ideal for outdoor adventures, quick energy on the go, and fitness snacks that won't spoil easily. In recent years, jerky's impact has only grown. It's no longer just a snack. It's become a part of the health food movement, marketed for its high protein content and low carb appeal. Many companies now cater to a broader audience by producing organic, grass-fed, and even vegan versions to meet the growing demand for ethical and health-conscious options. From its ancient roots as a survival staple to its current role in both snacking culture and health trends, beef jerky has had a lasting impact on the way we think about portable, protein-rich foods. It's a snack that stood the test of time, proving that a simple, well-preserved piece of meat can be both a modern favorite and a link to food traditions that span centuries and continents. And that's the story of beef jerky, from ancient survival food to modern protein-packed snack. What's your favorite jerky flavor? Classic, spicy, teriyaki, or something wild? Let us know in the comments below. Oreos generate over $2 billion in revenue each year, making them one of the most profitable cookies in the world. Ever wonder what makes them worth so much? Let's dive in.
They say on television it's America's favorite cookie. Grown-up people don't know what they're missing. Oreo, Oreo, Oreo. Well, all gone. Do, but I like Oreo.
To understand the success of the Oreo, we need to go back in time. The National Biscuit Company, thereafter known as Nabisco, was formed in 1898 through the merger of the New York Biscuit Company and the American Biscuit and Manufacturing Company, which included more than 100 bakeries. This merger set the stage for the creation of what would become the world's favorite cookie. It wasn't until 1912 that Nabisco introduced the Oreo cookie, a product that quickly became a household name. Originally, the Oreo was designed to compete with the Hydrox cookie, a similar chocolate sandwich cookie. But through clever marketing and slight recipe adjustments, the Oreo surpassed its competition, cementing its place in history. Today, Oreos are made in factories in 18 countries, producing an amazing 40 billion cookies every year. This popular treat started small, but is now sold in over 100 countries, bringing in more than $2 billion each year. We're going to look closely at what's inside the Oreo cookie, one of the most loved treats in the world. Let's start with the cream filling. Even though it's rich and creamy, the Oreo filling doesn't have any dairy in it at all. They even spell cream as C-R-E-M-E, which, fun fact, is how we spell it in Portuguese. To get that smooth texture, the filling is made with sugar, oils, and a special ingredient called soy lecithin. Here's something cool. Water and oil don't mix easily. When you put them together, the oil floats on top because it's lighter than water. But this is where soy lecithin comes in. When you add lecithin, it helps the oil spread evenly in the water. breaking it down into tiny bits that don't just float to the top. This is what makes the Oreo filling smooth and creamy. Lecithin also helps trap air, which is why it's often used in products like ice cream. Making the Oreo filling is a carefully controlled process to ensure that every batch is of the same high quality. It starts with accurately measuring ingredients like sugar, oils, and soy lecithin, which are key to getting the filling smooth and creamy. These ingredients are mixed in large industrial machines that can handle big amounts at once. The mixers have special blades that move at set speeds to make sure everything is evenly blended. Factory workers and sensors keep a close watch on the temperature and mixing time to ensure the oils blend well with the sugar, creating a smooth texture. The temperature is carefully managed so the filling doesn't become too runny or too stiff. As the ingredients mix, the machines scrape down the sides of the bowls to keep the mixture even. The filling is tested at different stages to make sure it has the right texture and flavor. Small samples are taken to check for smoothness, sweetness, and consistency. Once the filling is perfectly creamy, it's moved into large storage tanks where it is kept at the right temperature until needed. From there, the filling is pumped through pipes to the assembly line, where it's accurately applied to the cookies. The pumps ensure that each cookie gets the exact amount of filling needed to meet Oreo standards. One key ingredient in the Oreo filling is palm oil, which plays a crucial role in giving the Oreo its familiar texture without using animal fats. Palm oil is a plant-based option that stays solid at room temperature, making it perfect for creating that smooth and stable filling. However, the use of palm oil comes with environmental concerns. The high demand for palm oil has led to deforestation in some of the world's most vital rainforests, threatening wildlife and ecosystems. To address this, Oreo's parent company is committed to sourcing its palm oil more sustainably. Although the company uses only about 0.5% of the world's palm oil supply, they are focused on doing so responsibly, ensuring both the quality of the product and the health of the planet are preserved. Now, let's talk about the sweetness that makes an Oreo taste like an Oreo. The cookie's sweetness comes from a mix of different sugars, each helping to create that perfect taste and texture. If these sugars aren't handled properly, they can make the cookie feel rough or grainy, which isn't what you want in a smooth, delicious treat. Oreo packages list several types of sweeteners. One of the main ones is high fructose corn syrup. This sweetener is made by taking cornstarch and turning it into glucose, a simple sugar. Then, some of that glucose is changed into fructose, which is much sweeter. This makes high fructose corn syrup extra sweet, which is why it's used in many foods, including Oreos. Another sugar used in Oreos is regular table sugar, or sucrose. Sucrose is a common sweetener made from sugarcane or sugar beets. It's used in many baked goods because it adds sweetness and helps with the texture, giving cookies a nice even feel. Sometimes, Oreos also have invert sugar. Invert sugar is a mix of glucose and fructose that comes from breaking down sucrose. This type of sugar helps keep the cookie moist and gives it a smoother texture, making sure every bite of an Oreo is just right. The FDA, which stands for the Food and Drug Administration, is a government agency that makes sure the food we eat is safe. The FDA says invert sugar is safe, but like all added sugars, they suggest we don't eat too much. This is because our bodies aren't used to such high levels of sweetness, and it can make us want more, leading to overeating. Handling and mixing sugars is very important for making the perfect Oreo cookie. The sugars are carefully measured to make sure the right amounts are used in each batch. These sugars are then added to large vats where they are mixed together. First, the sugars are blended with other dry ingredients to make sure the sweetness is spread out evenly. Then, the mixture is slowly heated to a specific temperature. Heating the sugars must be done carefully. If the temperature is too high or too fast, the sugars could caramelize, which would change the taste and texture of the cookie. As the mixture heats up, the sugars dissolve and mix completely with the other ingredients. The temperature is closely watched by sensors and factory workers to make sure the sugars don't crystallize, which could make the dough grainy. After the sugars are dissolved, the mixture is cooled down to the right temperature. Cooling is also very important because it helps the dough stay smooth and stable. If the cooling happens too fast, the sugars could crystallize again, making the dough rough. But if it cools too slowly, the dough could become too soft and hard to work with. The cooling is usually done with air and liquid systems that slowly bring down the temperature while keeping the mixture well stirred. This makes sure the dough has a smooth and even texture. During this whole process, large paddles keep the mixture moving so that the ingredients stay evenly mixed. This helps make sure that every batch of Oreo cookie dough has the same sweetness and texture. Quality control teams check samples regularly to make sure the dough is just right. They test the dough's sweetness, texture, and moisture to ensure each batch meets Oreo's high standards. This careful handling of the sugars is what makes sure every Oreo cookie has the perfect taste and texture that people love. Flavor is a big part of what makes an Oreo taste so good. Some packages list natural flavor, while others mention artificial flavor. These are general terms used by the FDA when the flavors don't come from natural sources. Vanilla is often the main ingredient that gives the Oreo filling its familiar taste. The cookie part of the Oreo is a little harder to explain because some ingredients are used in both the cookie and the filling. But one thing we know for sure is that wheat is the most important ingredient in the cookie, and we can tell because it's listed first on the package. The wheat used in Oreos isn't just plain wheat. It has extra vitamins added to it. One of these vitamins is folic acid, which is important for helping prevent some birth defects in babies. By adding these vitamins, Oreo not only makes a tasty cookie, but also adds a bit of nutrition. The cookie making process starts by getting the batter ready. First, large amounts of sugar, cocoa, salt, and other ingredients are mixed together with a special blend of canola oil. Then, water is added, and the mixture starts to bubble like chocolate. To keep the dough from becoming too dry or crumbly, dry ice is added to cool it down quickly. This helps the dough stay soft and easy to work with when the flour is added next. Next, the dough is carefully divided into smaller pieces, each just the right size to make one cookie. These pieces are then shaped into the round biscuits we all know. An engraved roller then presses down on each piece, stamping the Oreo design onto every cookie, giving it that familiar look with the logo and pattern. This process happens quickly, with the machine able to make an impressive 5,000 cookies every hour, so plenty of Oreos can be made to meet the demand of cookie lovers around the world. Once the cookies are shaped and stamped, they are sent through a long 85-meter oven. This oven bakes the cookies evenly from all sides, making sure they come out perfectly crisp. While the cookies are baking, the vanilla cream filling is being made in another part of the factory. Once it's ready, the cream is loaded into a pump that will add just the right amount to each cookie after they're baked and cooled. As the cookies cool down after baking, they move along a conveyor belt that lines them up perfectly for the next step. This system makes sure that every cookie is in the right position for assembly. A special pump carefully puts the vanilla cream filling onto one side of each cookie. The pump is very precise, making sure each cookie gets the right amount of filling. After the cream is added, another cookie is pressed on top to complete the Oreo. This process is fast. In just 90 minutes, the factory can make up to 3,000 cookies every minute, ensuring that millions of Oreos are made each day to meet the demand. Before the finished cookies are packed and shipped, they go through careful checks to make sure they meet Oreo's high standards. This means that each cookie is looked at to ensure it looks and tastes just right, with the perfect amount of cream and a crisp texture. Once the cookies pass these checks, they're packed into boxes and sent out to stores around the world. You might notice that the packaging says Oreos are made with bioengineered ingredients. While this might sound a bit worrying, it just means that some of the plants used to make the ingredients have had their genes changed to make them stronger, like being able to resist pests better. These changes help the plants grow better and make sure there's a steady supply of ingredients. These bioengineered ingredients are tested and approved as safe by many health and safety agencies before they're ever used in food. So when you enjoy an Oreo, you can trust that it's made with care and safety in mind. Oreos have been around for over 100 years and are sold in more than 100 countries. With around 40 billion cookies made each year, this famous treat shows how tradition and new ideas can work together. As I would say, when you're the food scientist making choices about such a well-known product, you really need to know what you're doing. Americans devour over 2.3 billion chicken McNuggets each year. That's enough to circle the earth 100 times. But what's behind our obsession with these crispy little bites? From their golden crunch to the endless dipping sauces, there's something about McNuggets that keeps us coming back. So, what makes them so irresistible? In the culinary landscape, few items can claim to be as iconic as the McDonald's Chicken McNugget. Though it seems as timeless as the chain's golden arches, the McNugget has a clear and surprisingly recent origin story. Cooked up in the 1980s by a team of culinary scientists with one mission: to put bite-sized chicken on the fast food map. The McNugget journey began in the test kitchens of McDonald's during a time when red meat ruled supreme. Chicken wasn't yet seen as a fast food staple, but consumers' tastes were changing, nudged by health concerns about beef. McDonald's knew it needed something groundbreaking to keep its menu fresh and appealing, and that's where René Arend came in. Hired as the chain's first executive chef, Arend was a trained chef from Luxembourg with experience in classical French cuisine. Yes, you read that right. A chef skilled in haute cuisine laid the groundwork for the humble Chicken McNugget. In a place where the fanciest ingredient was the sesame seed, Arend was tasked with turning chicken scraps into gold. Creating a deep-fried chicken nugget sounds straightforward, but back then, it was uncharted territory for a fast food behemoth like McDonald's. Arend faced multiple hurdles. Not only did he have to figure out how to turn chicken into uniform, consistently tasty bites, but he also had to make them efficient for mass production. With a little food engineering, Arend whipped up a batter that would stand up to flash frying and freezing while still delivering that crave-worthy crunch. And the shapes? Not just random. The McNugget debuted with 4 distinct shapes: bell, boot, ball, and bone, that were carefully designed to keep things fun and kid-friendly in every Happy Meal box. By the time McNuggets debuted in select stores in 1981, McDonald's was all in on marketing these golden bites. By 1983, McNuggets hit nationwide, and they became a sensation, nearly eclipsing the Big Mac in popularity. Part of the allure was that they were marketed as a healthier alternative to beef burgers at the time. But beyond that, there was something inherently fun about dipping bite-sized chicken into tangy sauces. And those sauces, they were game changers: sweet and sour, hot mustard, barbecue, and even the elusive, cult favorite Szechuan sauce, which sent fans into a frenzy in the 90s and again in 2017, thanks to a shout out from Rick and Morty. Think McNuggets are just a side menu option? Try this on for size. Americans consume an estimated 2.3 billion McNuggets annually. That's enough to circle the globe over 100 times. And to keep up with demand, McDonald's sources an astronomical amount of chicken each year, carefully following guidelines for quality and consistency. The McNugget has even left its mark in pop culture, from YouTube challenges to McNugget-shaped pillows. The frenzy around these nuggets reached a fever pitch in 2020, when a single, uniquely shaped McNugget from a BTS meal auctioned for nearly $100,000 on eBay. Why? It looked like a character from the Among Us video game. Alright, let's roll up our sleeves and get right into the factory floor, where McDonald's Chicken McNuggets come to life. This is no ordinary assembly line. Think of it as a labyrinth of stainless steel, massive mixers, and fryers big enough to make even the most ambitious home chef jealous. Ready for some behind-the-scenes secrets? Here's how every McNugget goes from chicken to crispy, bite-sized gold. First things first, McDonald's doesn't just grab any old chicken, they're picky. The chain sources their chickens from farms that meet strict quality standards, think free of any antibiotics used for growth, and raised on a diet that keeps the meat tender and uniform. The nuggets are mostly made of white breast meat, known for its mild flavor and versatility. It's all about consistency, so each nugget tastes the same in New York, Tokyo, or anywhere in between. Once the chicken gets to the factory, it goes through a machine known as the industrial grinder. This baby could pulverize a whole bird in seconds, but don't worry, only specific parts are used. The grinder chops the meat down to a fine, smooth consistency. Then it's onto the mega mixer, where things get flavorful. In this giant tumbler, seasonings and spices are added to the meat mixture. We're talking salt, pepper, a touch of sugar, and a blend of other top-secret spices designed to keep your taste buds guessing. The spices aren't just thrown in willy-nilly either. The mega mixer is programmed to blend everything at precise speeds and times, so every single nugget gets the same flavor boost. Too little mixing? You've got clumps. Too much? You end up with mush. It's like a Goldilocks situation in there. Next, the chicken paste heads to the molding machine, where it's shaped into the McNugget's 4 famous shapes: bell, boot, ball, and bone. Yes, those nugget shapes aren't an accident. They're deliberately crafted to keep things fun and friendly, especially for kids, and to cook evenly. Inside the molding machine, which we'll call the Nugget Shaper 3000, the chicken is pressed into molds that ensure uniform size, thickness, and weight. High-speed cameras then scan each nugget, instantly discarding any irregular shapes to ensure your boot-shaped nugget actually looks like a boot. Now, we're on to the secret to that crispy exterior. The nuggets take a bath in a light tempura-style batter. Known as a pre-dip, this initial batter gives the chicken that melt-in-your-mouth feel while creating a sticky layer for the breadcrumbs. After the pre-dip, they move down the conveyor to the breading machine, a contraption that coats each nugget in a proprietary seasoned breadcrumb mix. Imagine a high-tech bread roller, specifically engineered to make every nugget taste just right. The double coating of batter and breading ensures the nugget is both crunchy and golden brown when it hits the fryer. And here's a fun nugget of knowledge. The breading mixture is scientifically designed to stick just the right amount. Too much, and it would turn soggy. Too little, and you'd miss that signature crunch. This is fast food engineering at its finest, folks. Then, it's into the flash fryer, a massive vat of oil that partially cooks each nugget to form that iconic crust. This flash fry takes only a few seconds, but it's enough to set the breading while sealing in the juices, giving each nugget that ideal texture. The machine, affectionately known as Big Fry, is programmed to hit each piece with just the right amount of heat, prepping it for freezing without fully cooking it. Without this flash fry, the nuggets wouldn't be able to stay crispy when they're reheated at the restaurant. It's a process so precise. Even the slightest variation in temperature or fry time could throw everything off. Now partially cooked and ready for the cold, the nuggets are moved into a blast freezer. Imagine a room-sized freezer that can drop temperatures faster than you can say Happy Meal. This rapid freezing process, known in the biz as cryogenic freezing, stops all cooking and locks in freshness. This means that when your nuggets are reheated in the fryer, they taste just as fresh as the day they were made. If you're picturing a simple walk-in freezer, think again. These blast freezers drop temp so fast that it would be like stepping from a sunny beach straight into the Arctic. With the nuggets frozen solid, they move on to packaging. The nuggets are portioned into bags or boxes, but not before a final quality check. Automated scanners with laser precision check each nugget's weight, shape, and color. If anything's off, even by a gram or a millimeter, it's tossed out. After passing this final check, the nuggets are sealed in their packaging and loaded onto temperature-controlled trucks, ready for their journey to McDonald's restaurants nationwide. Once the nuggets make it to your local McDonald's, they're stored in freezers until an order is placed. Then comes the final fry. At each restaurant, the nuggets go into fryers set to a precise temperature and time, giving them the final touch that makes them golden, crispy, and irresistible. It's all part of McDonald's commitment to consistency. ensuring your nugget in New York tastes just like the one in Sydney. Alright, so you've seen the magic that happens in the factory, but let's be real. Half the charm of a McNugget comes from that final sizzling step in the restaurant kitchen. Here's how it all goes down. When a chicken McNugget order comes in, frozen nuggets go straight from the freezer to the fryer without any thawing. The oil McDonald's uses is a blend of canola, soybean, and corn oils, specifically chosen for its high smoke point and neutral flavor, which ensures the nuggets get that perfectly golden, crispy finish without any overpowering oil taste. The fryers are set to precise temperatures, around 350 degrees Fahrenheit, to create that ideal outer crunch while keeping the inside juicy. Timing is everything here. The nuggets fry for just a few minutes to lock in moisture without overcooking. Once they're out, a quick shake removes excess oil, and they're placed in a temperature-controlled warming tray that keeps them hot and crisp, ready to be boxed up and served with your choice of sauce. In less time than it takes to read the menu, your nuggets go from icy to piping hot, all thanks to an engineered blend of oil, precise heat, and well-timed frying. It's a fast food science that guarantees every McNugget comes out just right every time. McDonald's Chicken McNuggets have had an undeniable impact, not just as a popular menu item, but as a cultural icon. They transformed fast food by offering something fun, shareable, and irresistibly snackable, appealing to kids and adults alike. Their success sparked a wave of copycat nuggets across the fast food industry, setting a high bar for consistency and flavor. From their introduction in the 80s to their status today, McNuggets have proven that sometimes the simplest ideas, small, crispy, tender bites, can leave the biggest mark. More than just food, they represent the comfort and nostalgia of grabbing a quick, satisfying meal that's reliably good every time. It's not just the batter or the sauce that keeps people hooked. There's real science at play. McDonald's perfected the balance of salty, savory, and slightly sweet flavors, along with a crunchy exterior that practically begs you to take one more bite. Their shape and ease of consumption make them an ideal crave food. And once you're hooked, well, they've got you for life. So, what's your go-to sauce with McNuggets? Are you a sweet and sour fan, or is barbecue more your vibe? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed diving into the world of fast food favorites, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more tasty insights.